planning on stealing it away. Vander did show some good board plays in the past. So it could be a contested pick. Because I think Hybrid is still a great board player. And I think Origen needs a playmaking support to kind of make up for what xPeke doesn't offer as an AD carry. But Syndra ban. Comfort pick removed for PowerOfEvil. Not because Syndra is like overpowered by any means, but it's a comfort pick. It's a bit like the Draven from Freeze we've seen banned away quite a few times. Doesn't look like Origen is banning it in this game though.
I mean, the Syndra hasn't had as big of an impact from PowerOfEvil despite being like a PowerOfEvil staple as it has from Freeze. Like pretty much every time you see the Draven, it does pretty well. Most of the time. There's the Bard up against Hybrid as well, so both of those most banned up against OG are going to be taken away. So the trend continues. Vladimir will continue to be banned away. He's still 100% win rate, to best of my knowledge, on 6-12.
On which champion?
Vladimir, 6-12.
Oh yes, yes, he's been banned. He's been banned every game today. So he's not been able to ruin his beautiful KDA and win rate, which is all that matters technically. Origen with the last ban, there's a lot of choices here. Karma is still up and available. Ryze is not a pick we see banned that often in Europe specifically, and I like this first pick a lot. I think Elise is such a good jungler right now. We looked at some of her win rates, you know, across the world, and like before today's game started, in LCK, EU LCS, and NA LCS combined on 6-12, Elise had a 73% win rate. She was 16-6, where other junglers like Gragas are like terrible win rates, like 20% or something, really far down. And obviously you don't pick a champion just because of win rate, but she is so good with her early game and even her late game, because she becomes just a tank with a cocoon, is actually not terrible.
I mean, she's a really good champion, but it's just, the funny thing to me is how little she gets banned. I think she was like only banned 8 times and picked 22 times, compared to like the other people who are being banned right now, like Nidalee, Caitlyn, Olaf, Vladimir, all of these constantly being banned out, and 2 of the ones I just listed going to be first rotation from Origen.
I mean, the Karma is absolutely no surprise. We talk about it so often as a potential ban, potential early pick, and then paired with Olaf, well, it makes sense. Sivir is open. I would love to see Origen run Karma, Sivir, Olaf, and have one of these compositions where you set up either Amazing or sOAZ to just be the big bully who can just dive the backline, because Amazing and sOAZ have been the 2 highlights for Origen. We can talk more about that in-game, but I like that first rotation. And now the question is if H2K should pick away this Sivir and therefore not allow Origen to run this insane comp with tons of mobility. They can just dive the backline every single time.
And that is, of course, the biggest issue for Olaf. Walls and people running away from him. So here H2K can do something. Now, they're thinking very hard about what they want to do against OG's composition, because with a draft like this in the first 2 picks, you know what they're going to do from here on out. So H2K have a bit of time to try and think about what they want to do, and probably is going to have his 2 cents in on this one. It's going to be the Nami and Ezreal, so yeah, looking to be a little further back, get away from the Olaf.
Yeah, Ezreal just become this pick where if you see strong backline dive, you just pick Ezreal. Like, he's the safest of the AD carries, obviously great mobility, can kind of peel a bit for himself if we go Iceborne Gauntlet as well. So it makes a lot of sense from H2K. Obviously, Peke is showing the Draven.
I also just want to say now that coming into the week, Ezreal was 2-9.
Yeah, rip. Poor Ezreal. Was that in Europe or overall?
In Europe,
In Europe, yeah. I mean, often he's kind of the reactionary pick. He's not the, oh, I will early pick the Ezreal to show you what my comp wants to do. It's kind of like, oh, I see what you're building. Yeah. We need some sort of AD carry who can survive. This bad boy, the Shen, was banned in the last series and has become a super contested pick here on 6.12.
Yeah.
I think if Origen locks it in, it would go a little bit against the Origen style of the last few weeks, where it's a lot about sOAZ getting fed on a carry through Amazing most of the time. But man, this composition can really dive. I would have loved to see Sivir instead of Lucian, and just honestly pick something that really makes this Olaf even better, and then put a Shen ulti on him as well, and like you are just diving through the team. But I think Lucian has become like, he's this, he's a skirmish AD carry, and you pick him when you don't need something that naturally fits the composition. But I think Sivir would have been a great choice.
Maybe. You put a lot of eggs in the Olaf basket, though. And with Lucian, okay, yes, he's had a weakened laning phase, but he's still strong, as you mentioned, as a skirmish pick. But Shen coming out here, as Strass was mentioning, on Challenger, we saw 5 out of 6 games he was first picked. Priority was so high on that champion. So people starting to pick him up really nice in lane swaps, which we're seeing pretty much every single game. So Shen, pretty good priority on that champion. And now we just need to wait for H2K to lock in their 2 final picks, which will be, as I wait 1 second and mistimed my sentence slightly, will be Azir and Gnar.
So we have to remember Azir wall, if Olaf already popped his ulti, will not do anything. He will run straight through it. It's only if you manage to do it before or after. So Azir is actually not considered that strong of a pick against Olaf. But obviously it's an Olaf jungle by the looks of it, meaning H2K is not that scared of it. And don't want to draft the composition just purely around playing against Olaf. It does leave a potential counter pick for PowerOfEvil in the mid lane. We know he likes to play his Cassiopeia. Can be a risk against a champion like Azir when you can set up their dives very effectively. There's a lot of physical damage right now on the side of Origen. And they might just put Karma mid, honestly, and then put in a support.
Very possible. I mean, you have the flex, so they can do what they want with it. 10 seconds remaining before they lock it in.
Okay.
And it will be the Varus. Okay, so yeah, Karma going to go into the bot lane here. Shen into the top lane, sOAZ not on a carry. And mid lane will be PowerOfEvil on Varus.
Lucian is such an odd man out here. Like, you're now drafting either a comp that dives backline, or you're drafting a comp with a lot of long-range poke. Lucian doesn't fit into either of them technically.
Yeah.
It could have been like a Jhin Varus, fantastic siege.
Sure.
It could have been Sivir or Ashe. Sivir to obviously set up the Olaf even better. Ashe to provide hard engage, even more hard engage to your composition, but also good poke, honestly. Lucian is a bit of an odd man out. It might just be comfort pick for Peke. Honestly, give me the most comfortable AD carry. I don't need to be the big man in this game specifically. H2K though is a very, very solid draft. Gnar is always good counter pick into a lot of these melee matchups up in the top lane. It's a very safe one as well. A lot of backline when you have Azir and Ezreal. No engage obviously coming from them, so it's more of these we need the other team to react and jump us, and then we need to like kite back. But it can be difficult against Olaf, Shen coming in at the same time.
It can be, but I mean, this is what you would expect from an H2K draft, right? Reactive play, playing it slower, playing it calculated, and hopefully not doing what happened last week and going back to the H2K style where they do close it out cleanly. But yeah, for sure, OG, cool composition to see here. And also, they also got the counter pick mid lane with Varus up against Azir. So see if PowerOfEvil can do a lot of damage against Ryu in that mid lane. There you can see the hashtags H2K win or OG win as we get into this series. And the first game here between H2K and Origen. Tell us what you think on Twitter. We'll be getting into this game very shortly. Here we go.
This is honestly a big one, Pulse. Because you have an H2K lineup who needs to show they are top 3 team in Europe. And you have an Origen lineup who has already gathered a lot of points when it comes to getting to Worlds. Because they got second place last split, so they're at the second most points in the league. They need to secure top 6. So they can cash in on those points and maybe even make it to Worlds.
Yeah, maybe. But they got to get into playoffs first, and they are a long way away from that. But if they do choose to stick with xPeke and keep trying to build him up as an ADC, maybe that's what we'll see. I mean, Freeze was complimenting him as a player. He's getting better from week to week. Yes, he still has problems that he's a mid laner in ADC's clothing, so he's still trying to go for the 1v1 outplay, and it's like, wait a minute. But he's playing Lucian this time.
Yeah, he
so
has the mobility.
Stick him in a side lane, it's like, all right, Peke, you just use your mid lane instincts and go for the 1v1 outplays, and you're in a long lane now, so make it happen.
And a big fan of PowerOfEvil not going teleport. Not that he would normally do it on Varus, but he likes it on Syndra.
Yeah,
he's done it on Azir.
Yeah.
I like to see combat summoners instead from him. You don't need him in a side lane. But still, Origen's comp has a little bit of everything. Like, you have backline with Varus, you have poke, you have, you know, their threat of diving, but it's not a combo you would say, oh yeah, all these blocks here, they just kind of fit together. It's like 5 pieces of Lego, you can just plug them on each other and we just know they're going to stick.
Yeah,
no,
it's like pick and mix.
Yeah, there's a little bit of everything in here. And Freeze is going to check. He did die level 1 before, and he finds Hybrid.
Ah, good read. Just in case there happens to be somewhere, not a big mana investment, just to save your potential life. So Hybrid and Peke, we're going to take the long route into this lane, and we're not going to see a lane swap. We're going to have standard lanes here, Deficio, so actually get this 2v2 off, but it is Ezreal, so he'll be far back in lane.
Yeah, it's not the greatest lane for H2K, but that's why they put so much effort on playing the safe level 1, and because they found Hybrid, they managed to push them around the corner, giving them the level 1 edge on the side of H2K. So they have the pressure level 1. Peke might have to surrender 1 or 2 CS and just get the experience, or he can last it with his W, like he just did there. But it means you have to skill W as your first skill, and that kind of sucky.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a bit of an annoying situation for Peke and Hybrid, but once they get a few levels under their belt, this lane will be a lot more even Lucian Karma is still a good lane, even though Lucian is pretty heavily nerfed in the laning phase.
Indeed. Yeah, Ardent Blaze, not really what you want to be doing as a last hitting tool, but in the jungle here, Amazing just going for his jungle. Mid lane you saw briefly there with PowerOfEvil and Ryu. Varus typically does well into Azir, but early on he kind of gets pushed in, which you're seeing right now, and he's also stepping right in the middle of the Azir soldiers, so he's taking so much damage.
Yeah, Varus is not a counter pick for the laning phase specifically.
Yep.
He needs levels before he becomes strong in the laning phase. Often level 7 or level 9, where you start maxing out your Q, is the big turning point for him. You can start instant wave clearing, actually have decent poke. PowerOfEvil eating a bubble.
He's going to get shielded by Hybrid, and that shielded will not be broken, but is still taking a lot of damage. In fact, a lot of the poke is landing from Freeze. This is a top lane matchup, though. Shen we're finally seeing more and more of, as we see more and more lane tops as well. And actually does fairly well into a lot of the carry picks that we're seeing right now in top lane. Has decent matchups into pretty much all of them.
I mean, Shen has always been a very strong laner. He's just not a strong team fighter. Because, like, yeah, you can get the great flash taunt where you get 2 or 3 guys and you are the hero, and we highlight that play over and over,
yeah.
But most of the time in teamfights for Shen, like you taunt forward, you get maybe 1 guy, and that's kind of your impact right now. There's a little bit more flexibility with his new W, but Gnar can safely sit and farm and push in. That's why Gnar is such a good pick against melee matchups. But yes, Shen does well against Aurelia, these kind of picks. I want to see if sOAZ just goes for the traditional EU build where you just go full tank, or if he adopts some of what someday he's doing over in Korea as an example with Titanic Hydra on Shen.
I was very happy to see that.
Definitely depends on how well you do early game. If you start falling behind, just go full tank. Don't try and go into any risky business here.
No, it's the same as kind of jungle when we used to see Rek'Sai go for like Titanic Hydra as well. It's like if you're doing well, you can pick up a damage item because it still gives you tanky stats, but you can deal damage. But yeah, otherwise you're just gonna go tank, get the ultimates in when it counts, and be that threat when it gets to these skirmishes. And it's just the presence without really doing anything, because you can be top lane with ultimate, and then it makes everyone think twice about going for a trade. So yeah. It's the Shen thing.
Always been the Shen thing. A bit like when you play against Evelynn.
Yeah.
Like she can literally just farm, and you'll be like, she could be mid right now, she could be bot lane right now, let's not trade, let's just step back. With Shen, it's a little bit more obvious. You're like, they have an extra global, guys.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind whenever we are fighting. So I like to say you don't want to take these like very dumb trades.
Yeah.
And it's like a Korean advice, like don't take dumb trades. Yeah. Congratulations, there you go, you're now better at League of Legends. But don't take these trades where you force both your top laners to teleport, because then they go even. And then when they go back to their lanes, well, Shen will have the pressure for the next 3-4 minutes. And that's the problem. So you only take place on you only make plays on the bottom side of the map if you know you can commit your Gnar as well, and you actually gain something right there from that play. Don't go for the risky 50-50s, because then Shen will win out with the second global coming in later.
That shield really pays off, especially if we can get onto someone who can get in range, so Shen can get in range. There's always the fighting back and forth, but here comes Amazing into the top lane. Odoamme is fairly pushed up, but remember he has hop. Oh, he's going into Mega Gnar form. sOAZ gets the taunt down. There's the crunch and the hop. Amazing will be following after, and he's undertows to land. There's the flash coming out. But Odoamme, is he going to get away? sOAZ and Amazing. The last undertow doesn't land, but the flash and the auto from sOAZ secures first blood.
And this is how Origen has been winning games. All split long. Amazing ganks for sOAZ. Bottom lane fight though.
Okay. Gets exhausted, and he's going to be the sacrificial lamb here, and it's just like, who's going to pick up? Jankos picks up the kill. Very nearly a first blood. Jankos very angry, it broke his stats.
xPeke ended up using both summoners here at the same time while he knew he was going down. So that's a big issue for Origen, but still, back to the top lane gank. Amazing and sOAZ together has literally been the 2 carries for Origen. Every game they do well in the early game, it's because Amazing is sitting up top lane with sOAZ. This is such an easy gank for him to execute because it's an overextended Gnar who's about to get Mega Gnar. So it's really easy for him to set it up. Even if he misses 1 axe, well, you might then have to commit 1 flash for it. You still get the first blood. And then bot lane, let's see what happens here. Where does xPeke use both summoners? Jankos comes in from top side. And oh, they don't think H2K is still here. They thought Freeze and Vander had recalled. So xPeke want to push out the wave, and then he just sneak in behind him in the bush. Well, we're back to top lane pulse because
yes, we are.
Amazing, he wants more kills.
Odoamme into Mega Gnar, but he's not pushing up to these minions. If he went for that caster minion,
yeah, but this is the worst as a top laner, because either you give up the next wave, and let sOAZ freeze, or you go for no. He's on.
Twilight Assault goes right through Odoamme. He gets the extra damage. Amazing's coming in. Ragnarok pops Odoamme into mini form. Here comes Vander and Jankos to follow after. And Amazing will go down. sOAZ doesn't want any of this.
Second time where H2K did surprise Origen. Origen doesn't know where the bot lane from H2K is actually supposed to be, because first on the bottom lane they thought they were recalled. Now sOAZ. Yeah.
Good luck, buddy. You're gonna need it.
I mean, he likes to escape weird situations, but
Spirit's Refuge is gonna block a lot
yet.
of damage. Jankos, he does it in the tower. Two rounds. Repel comes up. Oh, aggro swaps towards Odoamme, and Jankos barely survives.
That was such a poorly executed dive from H2K. They just missed everything.
Yeah, a little too close for comfort there.
But 4v1, I mean, you have to get that kill. Yeah. Trade towers now. I really like that play there from H2K. Again, they know Odoamme is at risk. So what they want to do is they want to swap lanes real quick and just push in topside with the Gnar, and then have the backup from the dual lane and then take the tower. sOAZ is still alone here. He's still against 4 members.
He is.
Jankos is coming up now.
Repeat? No, he's going to walk back this time, but he needs to be careful. A cocoon or a bubble just doesn't land onto him and he gets taken out again. But this is the second tower falling. Only 2 people pushing on the bottom side is PowerOfEvil and Amazing are taking blue.
Just one more hit.
No. Anyone? No. Any takers? Odoamme? Oh, he's going to stick around for the full goal.
Give it a one hit.
I mean, the caster minions are probably going to finish it off, but he takes the last auto attack and gets the full cash in from the tower. PeKe and Hybrid pushing the bot lane. Freeze is coming down here, and the caster minions are further back.
Yeah, this delays them even more because casters were not in range of tower. That means Origen has to back away now and end up losing out on this trade. Just as I talked about before, when you know you have a losing matchup where there's a high chance the enemy can gank one more time, what teams like to do is you push out your bot lane, in this case, and then you recall and you just rush top lane. Because you know Odoamme is going to push the lane against Shen, and with him being ganked, that's just a bonus for H2K now. Because not only do they get a kill on Amazing, they would have gotten tower no matter what. Because they would have pushed in the lane with Odoamme, joined with Freeze, Jankos, Vander, and would just have 4v1 the tower. Here sOAZ would love to run away, but Jankos cuts him off instantly, so he's dead as well. And just a great rotation from H2K. Understanding where can Origen get an advantage? Top lane only. Swap the lanes, end laning phase quick, take tower, and it's close.
It was a heal saving him from freeze there. Otherwise, he would have died 100%. It was actually nice from sOAZ to save the taunt. I'm going to hold that statement for a second as Jankos will flash after, but the cocoon doesn't land. sOAZ does dodge it out, but he's still being chased down, and he's being slowed out. But Odoamme is given up, so is Jankos, and he will get out alive, especially with a lot of people from Origen being off the map. Didn't want to get collapsed on, so H2K wisely back away.
Nice little sidestep from sOAZ. Had to react very quickly after the flash from Jankos, and now Origen is basically trying to do what H2K just did before. The problem is Origen has already lost out on the first trade. Ryu takes some damage, PowerOfEvil.
And that's the full combo. He just wants to proc off the damage with another piercing arrow, and Ryu drops low. Not going to be a kill, but pushes him out of lane.
Yeah, force him out of lane, that is true. Can still push it into tower.
Yep. Summoner and ult burn, though, from PowerOfEvil.
Real sting.
I think that's because he wants to avoid a potential arrow coming out from PowerOfEvil. Or maybe not. What's your game, Ryu? Okay, now he's going to recall. Yeah, I guess he was just trying to avoid an arrow.
Potentially, or maybe seeing could we set up a gank here? Like, he's going back in now. Not sure if he wants to surprise with Jankos moving forward. You think it's a 1v1 and then Azir shows up. But both teams trading again. I really like this game here. Fast-paced, a lot of swapping between lanes, a lot of tower pressure, and both teams understanding. We can't just sit and have standard lanes now. Like, we're at the point where our top laner will get camped, he will die. sOAZ would have no tower behind him. So it was a correct swap from Origen. Got the dragon before, but now, again, H2K are so quick at pushing up to that tower. If sOAZ steps in to defend, he's alone.
Yeah.
Odoamme is staying very far back. sOAZ needs to do the same, otherwise he might die again.
sOAZ,
he ran straight into it.
There's the ultimate out from Vander, but he did have Spirit's Refuge down, so we weren't able to pick up the kill. Jankos takes a big amount of damage from the tower. Freeze. Oh yeah, constantly trying to get damage down onto sOAZ, but every single time they take damage from the tower.
So sOAZ just wants to buy time. He wants H2K to focus him. The risk is, if Odoamme had Mega Gnar ready, we would have TP'd in straight away, sOAZ would have died again. Or at least we would have to flash and dash away. But they still get tower on the side of H2K. Origen should do the same on the bottom lane. And we're going to have a very open map, Pulse. Very open map here.
Indeed, and the push is continuing from H2K, just clearing out this mini wave. I doubt they'll go for the next tower. Ryu is still hanging around the mid lane. I mean, that's what the mid lanes are doing right now. and Herald will go over to Origen. And in this case, it's actually fairly viable.
Well, mainly if sOAZ could get it, but he's obviously on the other side of the map, and you don't really want to blow TP ulti or TP from Shen.
But even stopping Gnar from having it is really nice.
Yeah, exactly. It's great because it's one of these situations where you have the full control on top side.
Yeah.
Just take it on the way out. It's yours. Give it to Amazing, obviously, and we kind of reset the map now.
Yeah.
Completely. We completely reset everything. There are mid towers left standing, and the bot tower for H2K, and that is it outside of the base. So if you're Origen, and traditionally when you play Varus into Azir, you want to start grouping in mid and start sieging on the Azir. But you have a Lucian AD carry and an Olaf Jankos, so your comp can't really siege that effectively.
Yeah.
It's more about, honestly, fighting. Origen, very skirmish focused in this game here. I want to see deep wards behind H2K, and I want to see the Shen being active with his globals. Use the double global from sOAZ, so you can make some plays. Like, you can do it twice, Odoamme can only join once.
Chains onto Ryu. Here's the culling as well, but Jankos will force Peke to take a back step, while Mystic Shot lands onto Peke as he backs away. Ryu's coming in for another Mystic Shot. He's down to about a third health now. We find it a little bit harder to stick around mid lane. PowerOfEvil still poking away.
And we can see Origen are not committing towards this Olaf comp at all anymore. Amazing did not get a great start. He's actually built Sightstone now as well. Hasn't even fully completed his jungle item. So he's by no means building as a carry. And that means suddenly Olaf will have impact in the mid game when he has high base damage, but then later on in the game, he will be a lot weaker. And H2K scaling is great. Gnar is a great late game team fighter.
Yep.
We know Azir, we know Ezreal, fantastic late game champions. If they can secure 1 or 2 dragons in the mid game now, plus having the better scaling, then they are in a great position to win the game and force Origen to basically make a Baron play to win the entire thing. But Origen got the first dragon, we have to remember that.
Yeah, next one's up in a minute as well. Slight advantage to H2K in terms of this game so far, just because of the extra tower. But H2K is really playing the H2K game, and I feel like Origen's being drawn into it. It's like, we're going to take this tower, so Origen's like, well, I guess we have to trade on the bot side or the top side.
Right.
So then we constantly trade, and we're not getting, like, fights, really. We're not getting a lot of skirmishes, which Origen really want. H2K are just forcing them to play the objective game.
Yeah, and again, that's why that first rotation with sending the bot lane to top side after Odoamme had already died and lost his flash is so key, and a lot of people will miss why it's so important. But again, sOAZ could have gotten 2-3 kills more on that top side. They could literally camp that top over and over and over, and there's nothing H2K could do against it. And that's why you make these swaps and you end the laning phase, something we don't see normally. Ryu does have cleanse, he used it too early.
Pre-cleanse. He'll get out regardless, didn't have to burn flash, didn't have to burn ultimate, and Nami was already there, but took more damage than he really wanted to. We're seeing more players do that recently, I feel. Cleansing too early, Quicksilver slashing too early.
Sometimes the difference in MS can matter for you from what you're used to.
When you're practicing online.
When you're practicing online compared to sitting here in the studio.
Yep.
All right, Odoamme went back to base. We talked about how H2K really want to look at some of these dragons here because they already have the great scaling, and they don't want to risk Origen using the mid game they have to gain a big advantage and then stopping this Azir and Ezreal from just sitting and farming and farming and farming and forcing H2K to be aggressive. If they push up mid here, like that's why they're sending AD carry mid into the lane, just push it up and then walk straight into river. Straight into river, near dragon. You have already set up your vision. I think Ryu is a little bit low for starting it, that's why they're setting up a trap, but they're playing it correct. Get mid lane priority, push it out. Yep. That means you control the river now. And Origen or the team who needs to run in and potentially face check.
It's also nice because Nami can heal him up over time and he'll get back to full HP.
Very true.
Pronto. So not too bad. And H2K push up the mid lane once again, and obviously Dragon is a thing, so both teams posturing around this mid lane, trying to get their vision down. Odoamme still on the top lane. He has TP. sOAZ with the team though.
Yeah, H2K needs to put freeze down on the bottom side to just push back this wave here, or put their Azir on the bottom side real quick and then join in. This is actually really easy play from Origen. Peke got to freely push the bottom lane.
Yeah.
And H2K, because there was a Rift Scuttler down near the dragon, never really committed, and Origen never had to do anything because they could see dragon wasn't starting. And Peke literally just pushed bot lane, and he's like, all right, we got 2 lanes pushing, let's just walk up and take dragon.
Almost too easy, really.
A little bit too easy, but the game plan for H2K is scaling.
Here's Peke, but Ryu is going to back off. Pretty much the full culling taken to the face, followed by the inner flame from Hybrid. So yeah, gonna be good to go. But yeah, 2 Ocean Dragons now over to Origen just because of that setup. Had to send Ryu to the bottom lane to catch the wave. Mid lane, everyone's hovering around, and H2K did have the vision set up. They had 3 wards. They had a pretty good TP ward for Odoamme if they wanted it, but just didn't want to go for the fight right now.
No, basically when they committed Freeze and Ryu to push up mid lane, they allowed PowerOfEvil to just sit alone on bot side. Yeah. That should have just been a 1-1-3 setup for H2K, where you just keep Freeze on the bottom lane. Because like you're not afraid of PowerOfEvil, really at this point. Ezreal is safe enough, he can just jump away. And you just meet the wave. Once PowerOfEvil pushes past the river, you just meet it there and push it back, and therefore you don't give Origen free access to that dragon, because Azir can hold mid on his own. But I guess if you're H2K, you would say we didn't have cleanse. So if we stayed mid, with only Azir, no cleanse, Varus would ult to him, he would die, and then mid tower would go down and dragon would die anyway. Yeah. That seems to be the logic from H2K, and therefore they commit more members to defend it. Now Ryu will have cleanse ready in just a few seconds, and he can sit back and control mid.
It's also a decision-making thing, right? Like, H2K, of course, want to scale later into the game, and if they take a fight there and they lose 4 people, then it's going to snowball in Origen's favor. Whereas if we give over an Ocean Dragon, then, okay, yes, it's pretty good for PowerOfEvil and staying at range and poking away, but if we can make up for it late game by just doing a lot of damage and having a better scaling composition, then maybe that's how we want to win this game. Next dragon is also going to be Ocean, so triple Ocean for Origen, if they manage to secure that 3rd one.
I mean, triple Ocean is fantastic when you play against a lot of poke. If you can manage to get out of combat and actually start getting some of that region. It's also really good when you take Baron. And when you have 2 or 3 Ocean Drakes, you almost don't take damage from Baron, because the way Ocean Drake works, it's champions and towers that needs to hit you to put you in combat. Baron and Dragon does not put you in combat like that, and Ocean Drake will still give you sustain. Freeze slow on his mechanics here. It's another piercing arrow from PowerOfEvil, and he's just controlling this mid lane like a beast.
Like 4 in a row, just like lines onto Freeze. Vander was like trying to heal with water as much as he could, but he's still dropping low and has to go back to base. Okay, Freeze has his ultimate, so he can maybe delay this push in the mid lane, but all of Origen collapse into the mid lane here. They are without PowerOfEvil, so it's a little risky if they get engaged upon, but Jankos is low mana.
And this is where I would just love the comp for Origen, where the AD carry actually fit with the Varus. Like, imagine there was a Jhin in this game.
Yeah.
And you had Jhin Varus sitting mid with how good PowerOfEvil is right now at landing these skill shots.
Yep. I mean, tower would be dead.
You just force H2K away from this tower almost instantly. But they have time, because PowerOfEvil is constantly sitting side lane. Freeze needs to go down and obviously catch this one, or send down Ryu, send down one of them. You technically often want to keep your Azir mid, as we talked about earlier, because Freeze can just get pushed back to tower, and it's more than just killing people, it's who has the priority to hit the minion wave first. He's the man in control. If he, you can see PowerOfEvil here. He's against Freeze 1v1. He's like, I don't care about Freeze. I literally step forward, meet the minion wave, instantly one-shot it, and push a wave into tower. And Freeze has to sit pretty far back. This means Origen will always get control in mid and get a few hits on tower.
Oh, there's long-range combos at Freeze. He's going to have to jump away. Not going to have to use the flash just yet, but Ryu is pushing up. sOAZ will flash off to the side. Tidal Wave did not want to be on the receiving end of that. Odoamme is trying to get the hop towards them, but unfortunately, I believe Jankos walked backwards, so he didn't get the second bounce. But he wasn't anywhere near Mega Gnar just in time. He needed to hit people. Now he's Mega Gnar. So Origen all grouped up, comes back to Aram. However, they send PowerOfEvil bot lane, so going to break that one up. So as soon as H2K sent all their members mid, Origen break up.
Yeah, but again, this actually benefits Origen, because Origen are farming 3 lanes. H2K is literally just farming 1 lane. Jankos getting on sOAZ.
Or maybe the other way around. Ryu is going to knock him towards the wall, and that was just a CC chain. There was nothing that sOAZ could do.
But we just praise Origen and say this actually benefits them. PowerOfEvil is bot lane farming. Why does sOAZ step forward and start hitting Jankos? Your AD carry is not there. Just step away. You're getting farm on 3 lanes.
Yeah, you got a little bit greedy.
Silly mistake, and then suddenly you get punished.
Yeah, he pushed up to Jankos and was just like, if I hit him a couple times, Twilight Assault, and then Shadow Dash him, then my team can capitalize. We can kill him first, we can go for a fight, but yeah, you're right, PowerOfEvil's bot lane, so you don't even want to do that anyway.
Yeah, PowerOfEvil was just going to go and get a easy tower. Hey, Arenea's in the crowd.
Hey. That's a reaction gift.
Hashtag
Good job.
Keep smiling, please.
Keep smiling. Origen keeps smiling down mid lane. This is just perfect for PowerOfEvil. He's just landing everything. The full combo onto Ryu. He's going to jump away with Conquering Sands and Shifting Sands. And Freeze is having just to play dodgeball right now in mid lane, and how it's eventually going to die.
He's not doing a very good job.
No, he's really not. He was not good at dodgeball in high school, I have to feel. And PowerOfEvil was literally having the perfect game. He hasn't had to move from mid lane. He's just been sitting there and just shooting skill shots all game. The dream.
the fact that H2K keep Freeze and Rio in the same lane is just so bad for them. Losing out on farm, they have zero pressure in this lane. Freeze never tried to meet the wave down the bottom lane out of respect for the Lucian with the armor penetration build. They literally surrendered that lane to Peke over and over and over. And PowerOfEvil has been playing safe enough that he hasn't gotten to use flash, so you could never like shuffle onto him and like force him out of the lane as the Azir. So definitely think H2K has prioritized wrong here in the mid game and how to actually set up the lanes and how afraid they are of what happens in the side lane. Yep. But obviously again, in their mind, Origen wants to skirmish. They're trying here. Amazing. He's ghosting.
Now he pops the ultimate, but Ryu's already away. He still has
shitty ghost, man.
Question marks all around. I mean, oh, here comes Odoamme. He's just in the back lines. Two-man Gnar ultimate. Here comes a tidal wave as well. Origen won a scatter with Hybrid already down. Jankos sniped out by PowerOfEvil. And Vander gets locked down. There's another Q procking off the passive. And he'll drop low as well. A 1-for-1 trade overall.
PowerOfEvil, though. Monster in the mid lane on this Varus here, keeping Origen in the game for sure. Ends up getting a 1-for-1 trade. Hybrid did go down, so did Jankos. Definitely worth it for Origen, and that's a third Drake now. Triple Ocean, that's so much extra sustain, and we don't often notice it because it happens out of combat.
Yeah.
But whenever you have to go back to base because you just had an even trade with the other guy, he doesn't have to go back to base. Because he's just gonna wait around. And then that's another Ocean Drake.
Yeah, I want to put a I want to put a number to this because 12% of missing health and mana every 5 seconds. So yes, you'll be pretty much back to full health like so quickly. And Origen is just in such good shape. And you're right, it doesn't activate against objectives, so they can go Baron and just take it.
Yeah, I mean you have Olaf and Shen to tank. They won't take any damage. Right, Amazing gets the Shen ulti, and then he activates Ghost because he spots Ryu. Problem is, Ryu can just slide away. So that was the end of it. Great Mega Gnar, though, from Odoamme. And then, let's see. How does Origen manage to turn this one around? Hybrid goes down, but it's a lot of damage from Peke, honestly, here. Staying very far back and just a good snipe from PowerOfEvil.
Yep, that was pretty much the story of that teamfight, Deficio.
Yeah, I mean, I just played it.
Yeah.
That was literally it.
But yeah, there was a lot of like massive mechanical outplays. It was just a good arrow from PowerOfEvil, which he's been landing constantly in this game. He's having a great mid game, but that's really where he shines.
So let's go back to this whole H2K sending two members around mid lane all the time, both carries. We were looking at some of the numbers of which players got the most farm between 15 and 30 minutes. Freeze is second lowest of 80 carries. In the entire league. He gets such a low amount of farm, not only in terms of just the percent farm he gets from his team, because obviously that's 100% divided down with all of them. More the fact, look at the actual number. And H2K get second lowest farm of any team in the mid game, 15 to 30 minutes, and Freeze is second lowest of 80 carries. Oftentimes because there is no side lane control where the 80 carry is supposed to be from H2K. He often ends up sitting mid, being like, all right, I'm going to sit mid here because I can't really go side lane because I'm afraid of Origen's comp with skirmish. So I'm afraid of like Shen ulti on a Lucian who just dashes towards me. So I don't want to give them that opportunity to play like that. We need to also make sure Ryu can always farm mid lane and defend this mid tower. And it means you farm 2 lanes for the entire mid game. Yeah. And that means your 80 carry and mid laner will always suffer. They're behind both of them in this game. Even down in levels, if you look at 80 carries. And it makes you super passive. You cannot do anything if you only play 2 lanes.
Pretty much. And Peke actually not doing too badly this game. As I say, 0, 1, and 1. Because he gets caught out a lot as an ADC. I mean, we've already spoken about like the problems of having a mid laner be an ADC, looking for those duels and actually having them not work out. But in this game where H2K, all right, they have the lead on kills, but they are definitely losing out in terms of the way they're playing out this map. I mean, Vander just lost half his health to PowerOfEvil alone. Bot lane's being pushed in, but you can't kill the tower when there's a Shen there. And Origen just seems to be getting the better of everything. And we've criticized Origen before on some of the decisions they make mid-game. But right now, they're just making the right decision for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, again, they know they just need to keep securing dragons. Honestly, if you're Origen, because now you transition from the dragon focus to the Baron focus. Yeah. And you keep doing exactly what you've been doing now. You put your teleport on the opposite side of the map from the objective you want to contest. So that's obviously Shen, bottom lane. You have Peke go top lane and push out the top lane. And then, because H2K won't meet you early, they will always just sit back at the towers because they're afraid of what you can do in the side lanes. Well, you get Baron control.
Or you just put everything on Amazing and have him run towards the Ragnarok. Is popped off. Not going to be flashing there from sOAZ. He knows he can probably pick up the kill without it. Yes, he does. xPeke picks up the kill there with the culling. And Origen, they're eyeing up the Baron.
I mean, sOAZ can either stay and go for Baron with the team, because again, remember, they can tank this. They got the Ocean Drake constantly giving them HP, but he got to just recall because his TP is ready so soon. If Odoamme kept pushing, but he didn't, so it's good that sOAZ is staying. Start the Baron. They will barely take damage from this, unless, obviously, H2K can poke them and put them in combat, which they just did.
Yeah, Ryu is poking away with the Sand Soldiers, looking to change the corruption, lands onto Jankos. OG do not commit just yet. Baron dropping low, 3,000 health remaining. Odoamme stepping up. He was pushing down the bot lane, but he TPs to make sure Origen do not pick up the Baron.
It's another game, though, another situation where Origen have full control of the Baron area. The river has belonged to Origen all game long. So you get these times, situations where you have to walk in and place a ward blind, and then you get jumped. Like, Amazing with Ghost and a Shen ulti. As a Nami, how are you going to get away? Like, you can't. And it's all because Origen just have map control through winning the 2 lanes that matter. And then just have the Shen sitting in the lane where he just defends. He doesn't care about the Gnar, he just defends. That's all he does.
Yeah. Yeah, the problem there for Odoamme is, like, if he carried on pushing, maybe he can take that tower. But if he doesn't TP, then you lose the Baron. And now Origen is going to make the same play. Odoamme went back to base long with Jankos and Ryu, and they are very late to coming into this one. There's the blue trinket, but Baron's already down to half. Here comes the Tidal Wave, going to put the rest of Origen in combat. The Wombat. Baron goes down. I mean, there's H2K were just too far away. Now going to be zoning away. It's just damage control here. Odoamme following after. The boomerang doesn't land, and all of Origen get alive. A couple summoners burned, but that's absolutely fine.
I really like what we see from Origen today. Honestly, they understand. Don't need to go over aggressive on anything. Like, secure these dragons. Then we start moving over to Baron. We still have the full control of the map. H2K literally want to just farm.
Yeah.
So it's by no means over yet, because the game is still very close. But Origen keep getting more and more advantages. And we might have the big turning point, like once Elder Drake spawns.
Yeah.
H2K wants to get to that point in the game with even more scaling on their side. But now Origen have the sights on the mid-tier 2 tower after picking up that Cloud Drake. So this is one of these games where the RNG on dragons is really annoying. Imagine if Origen was sitting on like double Infernal into a mountain with these 4 Drakes.
Sure.
They would be so much more ahead now. Obviously, Ocean does have a lot of value, but it's just not the same at this point in the game.
Yeah.
So that's obviously the RNG part of the dragons. That doesn't always favor you.
Yeah.
It favors H2K technically in this situation.
But the non-RNG part is, as soon as OG, if they manage to secure Elder Dragon, then you get even more damage on the damage over time. Here comes the poke, continuing out from PowerOfEvil. Really being on point with this game. I feel like I've said that time and time again, but it never stops being true.
Oh.
30 minutes into this one, middle tower goes down, and Origen are now trying to crack this base. They only have 1 minion wave here, so they may have to wait for the next one to deal meaningful damage to the towers. But with the full group of H2K, they can clear the waves real fast with Ryu.
Yeah, and low range Lucian doesn't really want to give too many hits on these towers. Tons of risk involved. Can do it if you push them back.
God. Everything's landing onto Ryu.
PowerOfEvil is 1-0-0 in this game, but he has so much impact. Fantastic game for him so far. Just landing skill shots left and right.
This is horrific. Like, as soon as one goes down, he just charges up another one. And pretty much, even if 50-50 land, like, he's still pushing out Ryu. Freeze has taken some hits now. He has to back away. And Origen, over time, will start taking down some of these towers. sOAZ pushing the bot lane. He's going to be assisted by Ryu. I mean, Odoamme is not great at pushing out by himself, but 3 members committed to the bot side. OG will just take the middle and hit with the tower. Amazing pops the ultimate so he doesn't get locked up. And now Origen are knocking on the front door to take away the inhibitor.
H2K's communication is just broken. Completely. Committing 3 members to bot lane defense. Easy for Origen to push in straight onto this inhib. This inhib is going to go down.
Yeah, goodbye. And someone needs to hit it. Oh no, Peke has been caught out. Ultimate in from sOAZ. He was probably out, but just in case, there's the safety net. Luckily, the inhibitor didn't go down for H2K. It probably should have done, but Origen will finally back up. Yeah, I didn't realize there was a penguin in that. But yeah, Origen backing away. But this poke from PowerOfEvil was absolutely brutal.
And I wonder for this next game here, no matter what happens in this one, if the reason H2K was so afraid of actually going to side lane, because normally when you play Azir, you play 1-1-3.
Yeah.
Azir sits mid lane, he controls mid, he's stronger than almost any other character in the game at just controlling mid, have mid lane priority on how quickly he can push the wave and how early he can meet the wave. Very few champs can challenge him. Varus is actually one of them, so that's why Varus is a great pick into Azir. And like, it's two things I feel for H2K. One, Varus in the mid lane, so they're like, oh, we can't leave Rio alone because Varus ulti into cleanse into another Varus ulti, and then suddenly he has no pressure. Yep. He's down. And then two, if they move for the freeze Vander Jankos combo to the side lane, Origen can do the same, but then Shen ulti in. And again, once you can match, second time you can't, and then you automatically lose the map. So if you're H2K and you look at this composition, because you are red side next game, either you secure the Shen in your first rotation or you ban the wave. Because you made it so hard for you to play side lanes. And also this Varus pick, you technically don't have to worry about it because it was the last pick and you picked the Azir. But it's something you need to keep in mind because it actually allowed OG with Shen with the Varus together. These two guys have been the key picks. While we didn't see the Shen impact, it's always there. Because you're always like, oh, I can't go here because Shen ulti will come in and then suddenly...
You can't make this trade happen. Yeah, it's going to be 3 versus 3 or they outnumber us going for this trade. Just makes it harder to execute on it. But, you know, of all the ways that Origen were going to win this game, I was not expecting it to be just out-thinking H2K and making the right decision. I was just like, it's going to be from some big team fights, messy, H2K getting drawn into team fights that Origen is going to win from just running at them, but...
Can still happen.
No. It can still happen, but it's just the way that this game is panning out. Wasn't the way I expected OG to win it.
Origen does have a habit of taking their time when it comes to closing out games.
Sure.
Obviously, one crazy exception, but amazing taking some poke, but still not enough.
No, it isn't, but still, one botched team fight and H2K are right back in this, so I understand why OG are playing it safe. Rio off to the side lane trying to push away sOAZ, but he's so damn tanky. He's sitting on 3 items right now and a Negatron cloak. OG pushing in this mid lane, and H2K just trying their best to clear out these minion waves. Luckily, Baron is no longer on OG, so at least for now, H2K can clear out the waves, but with 1 minute remaining on Baron and Dragon, OG needs to be just a little careful. I mean, they can just back away and wait for these objectives to spawn, really.
Yeah, and keep in mind, their Dragon spawning, because of the timing, is the Elder Drake.
Yeah.
So it's coming very early on in the game, already at that 36 minute mark.
Yeah.
That tongue, you know, it gets in the way.
Yeah.
Elder Drake will spawn. When you have 4 Drakes already, H2K has to fight. But H2K cannot engage properly with their comp. So they need to sneak in and place a ward behind for Odoamme to TP to. Otherwise it gets really hard for H2K to walk in against PowerOfEvil, who's literally just landing every skill shot in this game here. And you have to walk at him. And then suddenly, Amazing flies in with the Shen onto him, and H2K cannot lose a fight. Like, they're at a point in the game where they've been so passive, been so far back on the map, that while it's still somewhat even in gold, if you lose one fight here, that's Elder Drake for Origen, that's a Baron, and then your base is gone.
Yeah. Game is literally over. Baron is going to spawn alongside Elder Dragon. Where's the priority? H2K are going to push up towards Baron. A lot of their wards are going around that area. Origen are kind of controlling more towards the bottom side of the map. sOAZ is in the bot lane. Origen have a stack in the middle lane with 4 people. And yeah, Ryu probably don't want to hit that.
No, the reason H2K are doing this... Oh,
xPeke could be good. Empress Divide comes out from Ryu, but they are kind of caught out. Jankos got a body block for him, but amazing. Will find him, and he will kill him. 1-0.
So basically, H2K tried to all in for Baron in the hope that Origen were going for Elder Drake. So Origen were committing everything for Elder Drake, then suddenly you sneak the Baron with 2. There's Azir and Elise. Obviously, Origen were like, we don't need to overcommit for anything. We have the entire control in this game. We have the full control in this game, so they end up catching out H2K. It was a Hail Mary move, backfired, and that's a Baron now for Origen. Maybe H2K can rush Elder Drake. Nah, I mean, Elder Drake takes a lot of time to take down. Dude. Origen should be able to rush in here and stop them.
9,000 health remaining.
No.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Karma is existing in this game, so it's going to speed up the team and just get over there super fast. And one Cloud Dragon, so they'll get there roughly half a second faster. And that means that H2K will back away. And oh man, OG are going to pick up this objective as well. I mean, this is horrific. H2K, I don't even know how you bounce back from this point. We've seen really nothing from them in this game that would signal, they can come back right here. With these two big objectives going down, and Origen having 4 dragons before this, H2K are going to need to do a lot of praying in the next couple of minutes here, Deficio.
All right, recall. Even deny synergy, where you don't want to waste time with your Elder Drake to get their enhanced recalls from the Baron. Yay, synergy. Recall, shop, instantly rush down for this mid inhib. H2K will not fight for it, unless they're crazy. They might have to again, because they'd have to try all in and win this game, but like you want to wait out Elder Drake, take that mid inhib, and obviously you need one of your waves pushing with you. That's why Peke is top, and sOAZ is bot now. I think technically you could actually just take one wave on the bottom side and then have Peke join your team now. You don't want to waste time with the Elder Drake. It only lasts for 2 minutes, and Ryu is trying to set up a trap, but that's an arrow in his face.
That half health Ryu. That one piercing arrow out from PowerOfEvil.
I like this. Peke realized we don't need top wave, we just need bot wave plus mid lane, so he needs to join his team. What we talked about, and now Origen in such a good position.
Yeah, 2 arrows from PowerOfEvil, just half health for both the carries from H2K. So good luck, H2K. This is going to be interesting as they try and defend their inhibitor. Honestly, at this point, they may have to just give this up and
defending this inhib will be nearly impossible for H2K. Requires a massive misplay from Origen. Because Odoamme is not in a position where he can properly flank. He needs to flash engage to do anything. They're just buying time now. Yep. Origen is not committing yet. Now they do. Just take it down. No one can fight you.
Oh, Chains of Corruption onto Odoamme, and goodbye Gnar. He's going to have to take a trip back to base. Culling was landing onto him as well. sOAZ is in the bot lane with his army of minions. Attack the tower, my minions. We will take this one out with the rest of Origen, of course, also chiming in, but mostly the minions. And Amazing will come in here onto this inhibitor. A lot of skill shots in from H2K, but they are literally not doing anything against OG. Regeneration, and the Baron buff, and the Elder Dragon, and a lot of gold, and a lot of items, and 2 inhibitors down. Pretty much a fatal blow to H2K in this game, 40 minutes in. Odoamme, if only he could get in range, but he's a slow Mega Gnar. Rest in peace.
Yeah,
so what are we going to see in this game, Deficio? Like, does H2K feasibly have a way to come back into this game?
Saying this, but...
Or is it just look at next game and
reevaluate? They should not have any way to win this game. But we have gone full late game. Mistakes do happen. We've seen them before. Our Origen took 80 minutes to close the game against Fnatic before.
Yes.
They do have open base. They have 4 dragons. There's no Elder Drake for another 7 or 8 minutes. So I want to say there's no chance. But I want to see Origen execute first. And I want to see Origen just close this one out cleanly, honestly. Pushing this massive wave. Wait for your super minions in mid and bot lane. And then you step forward towards the tower. So H2K either commit for the fight and therefore lose the Nexus turrets. Or they back away to go back defend and you just take the tower and inhib. And then you have the entire base open.
I mean, really, the parameters are different, though, from 80 minutes to Dream. So, Origen, hopefully, should be able to close this one out. Ryu buying time with the Sun Disc.
But that's all H2K been doing for 40 minutes. It's just buying time.
You're going to prolong the game, yes, and you lose slowly, but it's still a loss at the end of the day. I mean,
and especially because you keep losing these objectives. Like, you can play passive and delay the game if you get like a few early dragons, so you have some sort of late game win condition. That's not just like, okay, hope the other team messes up and we win a late game team fight, which is the way for H2K to win this game.
Yeah, 41 minutes in now, and this has very much been trench warfare for the last probably 5 minutes, honestly. Baron and Elder Dragon managed to net Origen at 2 inhibitors, and H2K are holding on. But it's so difficult carrying out these waves with just like a Gnar and then people rotating from lane to lane. sOAZ can do his favorite thing, which is sit in the side lane and push. And Odoamme will do actually nothing to sOAZ. Literally no damage. And he'll carry on pushing. It's slow, it's methodical, but Origen, they don't need to pull the trigger. If they do, that could be the way that they lose.
But now you have super minions coming towards the Nexus.
To deal with it.
So this is where you move in with your minion wave and you force H2K to decide. Do we want to stay and defend or do we want to see our Nexus turrets take more damage. Otherwise, you just wait for Baron, honestly. And you just say, you know what, we can't push through against Azir. It's too risky against Azir right now. So Baron becomes your objective. You take the Baron and you do it again with better minions.
Yep. Upgrade those minions, pushing a little bit deeper. Top tower getting chunked down. Rio gonna have to cleanse though out of the ultimate from PowerOfEvil. That's fairly big.
It's a few hits every time.
Yep. One hit, another arrow, another hit. Clears out the minion wave. Wait 20 seconds, wait for next minion wave. And 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining on the Baron. So Origen, they can play it safe. If they want to step forwards and hit that tower, they don't need to. They can just wait for this next Baron, force H2K to go to them. And honestly, at this point in the game, Origen are going to win the fight regardless pretty much, unless they misstep and Azir just goes mental. But that's pretty much it. Has to be Hail Mary number 2. Amazing.
Not your gate.
To pop his Ragnarok. But yeah, he's not going to be too unhappy. That's literally it. So H2K got something, at least. And Origen continue to push him. Double tap from Peke. It's just the same story over and over and over again.
Just waiting for Baron to spawn. If you are Origen, you have wards you can place all the way in. I believe Hybrid is on full wards. They're actually now committing for tower.
Pulling the trigger. Into corruption onto Vander. Tidal wave. And onto sOAZ. And a couple of members of the team. Spirit's Refuge will let them push in a little bit. More poke onto H2K. And again, they get another like 10-15% of the tower every single time they do this. But now with 15 seconds remaining on the Baron, and pretty much none of them on that team taking a lot of damage, they can go back to base. Some people had to take a trip back to the fountain from H2K, so they will be very far away if OG just decide to instantly go on this Baron as it spawns. Amazing going to lead the charge. Crab, of course, going to go over to OG as well. And there it is. And H2K, I mean, what do you do here?
No,
do you
they can't commit. They have to, again, just wait in base like Fnatic did, and honestly just wait and hope Origen overcommits.
Buy some ZZ rots.
Like, you can't contest this one. That's what Origen wants you to do.
All right, back to base. Spend some more gold. How much do we have? Actually, 2,500, like everyone from Origen. So, yeah, rapidly approaching full build. In fact, top lane's full build, jungle, mid lane, ADC, everyone's full build. There's still pink wards coming out from Origen. And H2K, they're all on 5 or less. So,
and I love GA. When you're this far
yeah.
ahead, just stack GAs, man. If something does go horribly wrong, you have a second chance.
Yeah. I mean, even just like that separation in a team fight where you kill them and then you have to refocus, especially if the team fight has moved away from the initial location, it's just like you can't instantly just camp the corpse and kill them again. Really, really nice in the late game. And Origen, they've got some housekeeping to do. They have to clean up these inhibitors as they have respawned.
Yeah, boo-hoo-hoo, huh?
Yeah.
Cleaning suck, unless it's just taking in inhibs.
Yeah.
I think you can survive it. We need Legolas in the back line, the PowerOfEvil, to just keep landing arrows. I guess technically amazing is Gimli with the axes.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
We just kind of don't really have an Aragon here.
No.
We have a doctor, ninja doctor.
Close enough. Odoamme taking the culling. Here's the tidal wave. And Sundisk will buy some more time. Same story throughout the whole game.
But yeah, and I die a little inside every time I see that Cocoon just randomly hit someone, and you know it's going to do absolutely nothing because they're so far behind on the side of H2K.
Vander takes an arrow. Down goes the fun disc. No more fun allowed in this zone. H2K lose their middle inhibitor. Origen, they were going to be very greedy and try and rotate within the base. No, you take the long way around. Let's play this safe. Now go through the outside of the base. H2K are going to try and do something. We'll probably lose this inhibitor as well, and we'll go back to the same situation we were in 4 minutes ago, and over time, the objective will die.
And we had 15 inhibs going down when H2K played, sorry, when Fnatic played Origen.
That's correct, 14-1.
14-1. And this game, I haven't really counted, because I didn't think this game would gonna...
I don't think we're anywhere close to 15 inhibitors yet, officially. I mean,
the same situation.
Yeah, 46 minutes into this game, but this still does highlight the issue with Origen. I mean, they have had control over this game for like a good 25 minutes, and 25 minutes later, they're unable to close. And yes, it's small things like this, having to lose a Ragnarok, having to lose a Ghost, but it all adds up. It just adds more time onto the game where H2K are able to get into late game. And yes, they've taken probably more mortal blows than any team should ever be able to, but Ryu's still strong, Freeze's still strong, and Odoamme's great in late game team fights. So yes, we stall out, yes, not a lot has happened in the last maybe 10 minutes, but it just opens up the opportunity for H2K to somehow get a miracle play.
Well, yeah, and then get another one, and then maybe you can actually use it to win the game.
All right,
because
DJ Deficio.
that wasn't even intentional, but you need to you do need to win at least like 2 big fights. Unless you can clean ace them and just rush into the base, but you won't have any minions.
Yeah.
Because all the super minions are just constantly pushing down towards you.
Keep on pushing.
We're trying again.
Keep on pushing.
We are trying again, and Origen are not looking. Oh, that's an engage.
Oh, the flash engage in from Elise of every single player on that team. Ryu goes a bit too deep though, and Jankos is caught in the middle of the team. And Amazing is going to launch himself towards Frieza and Vander. Had Shen coming in there, but he's interrupted. But that's not going to matter at all, with sOAZ now team peeing onto a minion. 2 kills on H2K, and I believe this is the end of the game here, Deficio, as Origen finally managed to crack the base, finally take down the Nexus towers, and H2K are unable to contest. All they can do is sit on their spawn pad and cry, and sOAZ will try and make a highlight reel and pad out his stats. Origen onto the Nexus, and with those 4 dragons taking all of the Barons, taking all of the Elder Dragons, taking everything in this game, they will close it out against H2K in its first game of this best of 2.
Yeah, shout out to H2K. They did not want to go for 80 minutes of just defending. Said, you know what, boys? Let's just try a crazy
Pull the trigger.
If we lose anyway, the game is over. Saved our voices. We're running out of water. Dehydrating.
Yeah.
Would have fainted soon and you would have to solo cast.
We're in the desert oasis.
We are. There is no water.
Yeah.
But Origen, I like what I see. I especially like what PowerOfEvil is doing in the mid lane, and I think this Shen pick worked wonders. But H2K, man, sometimes even yeah, I know. I was like, I had this other thing I was about to say, but I'm like, it's probably not suitable for air, for broadcast.
It's just
so
like
I'm
you
not gonna